Hey, it's me, Tony from Groom Time Talk. Yes, and Emmett.
How you doing?
And we got today, getting a haircut is Gerald Babs.
Go sit in for a minute.
Holla, holla.
All right.
All right.
On live?
Yeah, we on live. And you know our resident guest we have here. But before I even share resident guest, I want you to share this, make a comment, tell friends about it. Don't forget about it's Breast Cancer Month this month, and we still got some stuff, interesting stuff I want to share with you guys this month. And we got Just Fresh here. Today we're going to talk about gentrification in the inner city and the effect of it has. So first of all, we have Just here, and I wanted to talk to Just because his mom lived in the inner city where they had this firework thing going on, and I was just wondering, because we always talk about these conspiracies and so forth, is that part of the conspiracy or what was that all about? And secondly, I want to say, how do you feel about gentrification?
Gentrification works in good and bad ways. You know, it depends on how you look at it. You know,
Can you be heard?
communities can look at it various ways. You know, some of the renters, it might run them out. You know, of their residents. You know, for people that own. You know, especially those the minority population, they own, it could be beneficial, provide them opportunities, things of that nature. So, provides jobs, just different things, but, different people of different communities can say different things, at the same time. So it just depends on how you look at gentrification in a general term. But, I can personally experience both sides. My grandfather owned a home in South Los Angeles. He was fortunate enough to buy his home. It was, of course, now, my mother owns it. It's worth significantly more, obviously, than when he bought it then. And the Coliseums down the street, we have.
So we're in LA, Los Angeles.
Los Angeles,
right.
South Los Angeles. And, you have different amenities to you. LA is, obviously been driven in the realty, market, and it's a hot commodity and it's going to hold its value, so she was able to benefit from it. However, I've had, personal friends I've known for a long time. They might have rented the apartment down the street for 20 years. Their mother's been there for a long time, been a long-term tenant, serving the community, and such, but, they're getting their rent raised. They're not, willing to comply with the rent, they have to move. So it's been, I've experienced both sides.
So it's a negative and a positive, depending on what side.
Absolutely, it depends on where you come from. Again, it brings money to the community, but at the end of the day, it puts money in certain other people's pockets. Have. It's a case of the have-nots. That's who ultimately it benefits.
Something I always thought is an oxymoron about inner city gentrification is you go into urban areas and they complain about there's nothing there, no thrifties, no Rite Aid, no this, no that. And then when they begin to do the gentrification, then they tell you they run you out of it and running us out of there. We don't, so I never understood which way do you want to keep it in the hood like this, or do you want it to have businesses come in and make the neighborhood better?
Again, it just depends on how you think about it. Those businesses that you make better or think better is just, maybe how those businesses are able to thrive in certain communities. What would happen if we as minorities own those businesses and they happen to be thriving also because of the area? We could benefit from that too, but we have to get to more of, holding on to things that we have, especially those from the inner communities, because like I can tell you, Hispanic and black owners that have owned things like barber shops or convenience stores, 99-cent stores, little mom and pop stores, hardware stores, and they're minorities population, you know, whether they're black or Mexican or Indian or whatever, they've owned these businesses for years since I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? And their businesses have thrived because of the areas that they're in now. See what I'm saying? So it just really varies.
Well, I can give an example of, I know an area where it was kind of, tore down, but Dunkin' Donuts came in and they put a Dunkin' Donuts on that corner, on that same strip mall with these mom and pop businesses, and those mom and pop businesses started thriving because of the Dunkin' Donuts. What do you think, Em?
Well, I feel that as a community, we need to learn how to, the second generation of our people need to learn how to hang on to some things. You know, Jay said that he had a generational passing of a home, and then it's still in their home, in their family lineage. When we finally get a piece of property, we need to learn how to keep it. If we open and start a business, we need to learn how to continue to run it. Those are the things that I see. Gentrification can only be allowed if you sell. So if you're selling, someone's buying. That's life. If you're selling, someone's buying.
Right.
So that's how it goes. So we got to figure out how we understand what value means. So if you have value with something in the properties, and so that you know the values in your family, so that you keep these properties instead of selling. So I think that an area can only be gentrified if they're willing to sell it.
That's true. If the community, it comes down to the community and their value of, either their position or their value for the community. At times, but it comes to, and some people, I'm not knocking anybody that makes sale. That might be the best choice for them or their family or whatever the case may be. But within that there's opportunities. Because you then gain equity in these homes. You're able to.
Well, what about the jobs, like you said? So I've known, like they'll bring in Krispy Kreme and
I was gonna say with new business
and,
comes new opportunities for jobs.
Right, and all of these things, and they even landmark McDonald's, and they even put money into the schools around the areas. And
that's a
the
beautiful
teenagers
thing,
are
by
getting,
the way. I don't usually do plugs, but that's a beautiful thing that McDonald's does.
I'm not trying to plug them either. I'm just saying it's something, a fact that they do.
Right.
The teenagers are able to get a job. A lot of times they sponsor the little leagues in the neighborhoods and so forth like that. And I'm gonna keep it 100. Sometimes the mom and pop store don't even have enough money to do that.
Yeah. But with lots of changes and updates to the community as far as like traffic, more traffic, more people visiting the community, a bigger marketer of stores, people are going to come through, kind of check things out. That can help. It's kind of make or break as well,
So what do you think when a store like, I'm sorry if I cut you off, when a store like a Super Walmart come into the neighborhood?
You know what I've always said, it's funny you mentioned that. I've always said, like, my sister lives in Alabama, right? They have Walmart there in Alabama, and then that Walmart has everything, okay? And you ain't got to go nowhere else. You ain't got to go to the grocery store, CVS, or nothing like that. I always said that would kill out here. But
it would shut some of that mom and pop stuff down.
Man, that would be devastating.
They couldn't compete with the prices. Is that
even who'd be in trouble? These big stores, Rouse and the Food Village, they're in trouble.
I think there's enough consumers to be able to handle the market. When it comes to food.
No, I'm not talking about going out of business. I'm just saying they're gonna hit in the pocket.
Yeah.
That's gonna hit it. If the Super Walmart came out here in Emmett and it was in the plethora.
Super Walmart.
No, I said if it came down here in the thickness, you got to have certain areas to go to Super Walmart, and I think they did that on purpose. I think Walmart probably agreed. Okay, we can
And
only do this
city,
many.
each city can monitor what comes in.
Right, absolutely,
So
absolutely.
they said, yeah, you can bring a Walmart in, but bring a little neighborhood.
Right.
You better separate it. I think that.
We got Stater Brothers and
Right.
I'm speaking off of what I think, not what I know. So I'm thinking, like you said, because Pomona. Now that I think about it, they don't have Super Walmart here in Pomona.
Just a regular.
They have a regular, but they do have neighborhood Walmart
Right,
stores.
but that's a little
And
something.
Upland is the same way. They don't have a super Walmart in Upland. They just have a regular Walmart, but they do have a neighborhood Walmart store in Walmart.
Listen.
Upland as well. But then in Ontario, they super Walmart out.
Yeah, but if you ever been to Super Walmart, which you probably have, they got everything, man. You ain't got
What's
no
that?
Super Walmart. You can get your groceries, whatever you got to get from CVS. It's there.
Well, they have it all there.
You ain't got to go nowhere.
They have it all there. I agree with that.
You get
But
it.
is that, like you said, that may not be that good for the neighborhood, but downtown LA, they have a super Walmart. That's good for them.
Where?
In
I've
one,
never
of
heard
them,
of
buildings, one of them buildings.
A Super Walmart?
In one of them buildings, they have a super Walmart.
Wow.
And,
I gotta go check
Walmart
that
has
out.
some. I'm not trying to plug Walmart, but
Me either. We talking about Walmart.
I'm not trying to plug them, but they come in. They do some
good job,
gentrification.
too.
They do a good job with the
They do a
gentrification.
good
They
job.
went over here and went to one of these stores. I'm like, oh, that was just a regular store. Made it, put an elevator, escalator, and baskets downstairs. I'm like, oh, they.
True Walmart fashion.
But as far as the property values, are you think people in the areas that's being gentrified is the word? Do you think they understand what's going on, or is it part of it is to keep the education so low?
I think if they don't know what's going on, I think they need to educate themselves, because it could be a very beneficial thing for all parties if we're aware of the situation and what's going on and what can happen in future terms. Before we even make moves or before gentrification even happens or occurs or has the possibility to occur. Like Emmett said, you gotta be okay with it. See what I'm saying? So I think it's the best way to deal with the situation is to educate yourself. And knowing the pros and cons of things.
So if they were, the cities were to bring in what you call it, libraries, satellite libraries in those areas, and shopping and parks and some form of policing, do you think that would make the areas better or worse?
I think it'd make it better, considering there's a bigger population. Again, more traffic, so there's tend to be more, law enforcement around, things of that nature. I'll give you a great example. I live in, again, South Los Angeles, and it used to be, when I was younger, you can go in and out of, the USC campus, it wouldn't be a problem. Whether you just want to go sightseeing, wow, this is where people go to. I used to do this as a kid. Wow, this is
Bikes to
legendary USC. You get to look at the field, look at the football players, just do little kid shit. You get on your bike, you ride up there with your friends. You used to do that. You can't do that anymore. They have, security guards there, on every corner before you can get to USC. Because so much has happened to the students where they get robbed or, shot or something like this. They gotta be able to get that.
Kids are vandalizing too, son.
Oh yeah. But see, again, when I was a kid, that was the worst thing that would happen. The worst.
Broke
See what I'm
the
saying?
window,
Exactly. Somebody break a window, shit like that. But no, they wasn't out and robbing. They might steal a bike.
They had to be
But
bombed.
nobody's getting robbed at gunpoint. This is somebody's kid that's paid tens of thousands of dollars for them to be here. This is not gonna happen.
Foreign exchange, robbing the foreign exchange.
But people don't realize, how where USC is, and it tends to be in the mix of things because you just gotta go in certain areas.
Right there in the middle of South Central.
So it's just times have changed. People have changed.
So
like I said, this type of things didn't happen.
So when we have more people in the area, and we have
right, you have more traffic. Things are less likely to happen.
you have more policing.
Right, you're gonna
more
have more
firemen,
policing. People are
more
less likely to
schools.
do certain things. It's just gonna be about entertainment. eating or, you know, whatever the case may be, whatever business has got going
So
on.
will that make them market the house value?
Oh yeah, it'll go. The value will go
More
up.
desirable living area.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I'm trying to see
Just
what
like
the negative.
what's happening.
I want to
in
see what the
Inglewood.
negatives are.
The negatives are only when we sell out. That's only the negative. Every area needs a new upgrade, new updressing, needs generational change. It's not, you know, when we were kids, we ate different fast foods than there are right now. So now things change. You know, now there are Walmarts, there are Targets, there are more convenient stores that need to be near people. Those are things that people need to be convenient with at this point right now.
So is the purpose of gentrifying the area to price out the local people that were there, or is it to make it something good for them to in that area?
It's not really either or. It's supposedly meant, you know, to make the area better. But at the end of the day, we're not, you know, we can't be, you know, oblivious to what makes money makes money. You know what I'm saying? We can't be oblivious.
Because I think about
Basically, it could be both.
Right.
Because there's some people that's going to live in those areas that own them homes and
Right,
live
they're gonna
well,
benefit
and they're
from
going to benefit from the things and
Right.
amenities around.
You
And
you've
some
already
people-
paid off your house, or you've been close to paying it off because you've had it so long, or whatever the case may be. You gain instant equity. You're able to pay a couple of $100 more maybe on your mortgage for a couple of few thousand, you know, and you're able to do whatever it is that you want to do with that. Whether it's, you know, start your own business, invest, whatever the case may be, you know. Whatever the case may be. Retire and then, you know, pass it on to your children, whatever the case may be.
I can see, well, when I was young, I had a lot of family in the Bay Area, right? And I remember going to San Francisco when I was young, and it was whack, dude. It was the slums, bro. It was ghetto out there, bro, in San Francisco. Then through the 70s and 80s and 90s, I don't know what happened. It turned into Beverly Hills out there, bro. I mean, everything, and that was the hood, bro. And I can almost see almost a copycat what's gonna happen to San Pedro, bro. They let that place fall to the dirt like it is.
Oh,
now.
San Pedro's nice.
And I guarantee you,
San
it's
Pedro
gonna,
next to the beach on the coast.
I guarantee you they're gonna gentrify that so much. It's gonna be just how they did.
It's already done. It's already done.
Ah,
They got the little.
that harbor,
They
that
got the
harbor.
little. I was about to say they got the little game. They got the little.
That
game in
harbor,
San
they
Pedro.
gonna do
And
something.
and it's
down
called
there.
Harbor Crypt too, or something.
Yes, they
something
gonna
like that.
They gonna get that out, yeah, all down there where that is.
But you know,
That's it down there.
That me too. It was. I haven't been through, but it wasn't gentrified like San Francisco, bro. Where everything, Maserati, Lamborghini, but it's a very desirable scenic area when you see the bridges and the coastlines,
people want to
and
get
the parks and
people want to be
everything.
close by the water, man.
And close
You know,
by the water, close by work. I can just
They have
tell
the little water sports over there, little things to do, the boats, you know.
that's gonna be one of the ones that, because the
It already
property
is in certain areas.
is so old, they're gonna be able to just bulldoze it
Yeah.
and put new stuff like, oh, this is ours. Bulldoze it.
Yeah.
Bulldoze it.
A lot of that's what they do when they buy those properties in Los Angeles, and now they can split it and put two homes on one property, maybe buy a duplex. You know, my wife's family, you know, they were experiencing whole areas, whole blocks being built out, bought out by big skyscraper people.
Oh
They want to build off of Pico. So, you know, there's a lot of.
And they have a very, very innovative new, like which school did you went for, CAD, AutoCAD, these architects now can put way more livable space on these lots that before they've come up with just like using every square inch.
So we just got to be aware about selling, basically. I mean, understand the value of what we have, the value of our community, you know, so that we can stay in our communities and understand it. You know, there's a lot of nonprofits out there that need to be opened up in the communities that could be able to help like the YMCA's and the Boys and Girls Clubs and the different types of things that maybe will keep people interested in staying in the community also.
Yeah, well, I kind of think sometimes here in Pomona, I'd welcome a lot of gentrification here. I always wonder what's so bad about getting rid of the gangs and getting a store here. You know, we don't have. Emmett and I work here, and sometimes like, where do we go to eat, bro? Where do we go to shop at? I mean, the mom and pop in Pomona, not trying to say is not. It doesn't want me there. It's not a diverse enough, you know. I mean, the big fives, where's the stores is diverse. Sometimes where I don't have to. I mean, when I see it's in Spanish or another language, it kind of don't want me in there really, you know. Or that's not what they really catering to, and I would like something at least to cater to me, you know, my money. And so it's when I see the Subway.
Or maybe it's just letting the Hispanic culture know that we're available too, or whatever it might say, you know. Because are you used to going to that store?
I sometimes don't frequent them because it doesn't say welcome.
No,
I don't
I was
say
talking
welcome.
about before the sign, because I know they didn't have it back then.
They never have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what? I would like a variety of sandwiches besides just tacos or China bowl.
But nobody know. It's hard to see I remember back in the day there used to be like delis, right? You can go to like delis, even really before my time. But it was just this old school deli that you can go to still, like a low key New York bodega type thing. You know what I'm saying? So, but they don't really have that no more. But you can go in there, get a quick little sandwich, boom, little chips. You know, back in the day, they don't really have that no more. You know, because that's not popping. You know, because back then,
well, now
it's just been like $5.
Well, now the game has changed. A lot of food trucks.
Yeah,
a lot of people.
That has changed the game too. Like I don't know how you guys feel about food trucks, but certain food trucks, oh yeah,
yeah, they're pretty good.
Oh yeah,
I like them.
Oh yeah, I'd rather go to some of these food trucks than some restaurants.
So you know that's a community game, right?
Absolutely.
There. That's in our community.
And that could be strong in the gentrification game. You know, it's a new market. You know, that could be beneficial to them, depending on, you know, how they run their business, where they venture, you know, things like that, and how they can evolve in a certain area. You know?
So with the gentrification, do you think they need to bring more health clinics and stuff into the...
Oh, naturally. In a bigger population of people, you're going to have more issues going on, depending on, you know, what occurs in that population.
Tennis,
you know,
chiropractors.
Sure. Anything. It's just everything's about demand. You know, and obviously, you know, the demand with more people, you know, more traffic coming in, more things are going to come in. I'm sure they're going to be bars, you know,
so
for entertainment, and then somebody's going to break into a fight.
What would be the way? What would be a way to make sure that those things during the gentrification that those things can be your area?
I mean, they just come naturally. You know, people.
Don't you think like if you press the city council like, hey, homie,
it really depends on what the need is for, because you can't.
We're going to vote you out if we don't get this, and that up in our neighborhood.
But there's two bases of needs. You know, there can be, you know, your obvious community need, which is like a medical center, police station, you know, things of that
library.
nature. And then, yeah, sure, even your library. But that's going to be a little bit harder to push. Even I think every community should have a library. Don't get me wrong. That's going to be a little more harder to push than more policing. See what I'm saying?
Well, I'm willing to believe that is when they start doing these surveys and the census and so forth, and then they're going to be doing these gentrifications. You're supposed to press your local politician that this is what's going to happen, bro. This is what we need in our area. You're not gonna just.
Well, again, it just depends on the need and how pressed the community might be about it.
We already know it's
you get a bunch
underserved.
of petitions like a community center, for instance. You know what I'm saying? You get enough push for a community center. It's something great. You know, I went to community centers. You know, went to YMCA's. You know, the different after school programs, and you know, it was great. You know, there's a place in my neighborhood called A Place Called Home. You know, it's a pretty good
how will
community organization.
someone in
of course, the
neighborhood
community would have to push to it. You know,
How
talk
would
to the
they
councilman. You know, A Place Called Home does still exist, and so does the Boys and Girls Challenger Club on 54th and what is that? Hoover, 55th, Hoover, something like that. Over there, I actually was there and I shook President Clinton's hand when I was a kid. When he visited out here. I don't know if you remember that. When he came out here to LA.
He came with the gang time. He just
Boys
thought
and
he was
Girls
sick the
Challenge.
other day.
Yeah, that was cool. It was a big day for me.
That's a big day for any kid.
Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, you know, so it just it's
So in the inner city where you grow up, have you seen it evolve better or worse as far as gentrification? I'm not talking about street gangs. That's something.
again, it just depends on what was what. You know, at the time being. You know, like I said, I've experienced, you know, long-term friends. They left because, you know, their mom rented an apartment so long, and then the rent just went up. They came in, remodeled everything, and blew the rent up 3 times.
Okay,
And
now
so-
with the
they moved away and just happened to come back, you know, but that just relocated them.
well, now with
You know what I'm
gentrification, and I keep talking about the political forefront of it, is because what about if they gentrify an area, we get somebody get a neck beat to their neck, and they burn all that crap down. Everything they just made, they burn it.
Like they'll come in and rebuild it, Tom.
You think?
It depends on what the.
Or you think the big company's like, I told you we should have went down in that area.
Nah,
Maybe a little bit of that.
I mean, I think so too. I think there's always a chance. There's always a chance.
They didn't burn down the CBS.
I don't want to hope that they go in there with that hope, but you know, I'm sure they might be insurance stuff in case anything like that happens. But I don't think that's the general point. But I don't think it would hurt them on the back end.
But yeah, me and Anthony's been here on the home for over 20 years, since 1997, and there's been no big changes, and we've seen business dwindle on Hope. And Hope's one of the busiest streets in this whole area. So, like Tony said, there was a time, there was a Cadillac dealer on Hope.
Color towel.
Color towel was on Hope.
Color towel, what is that? I didn't even know.
You remember that color towel?
No.
Like Carpeteria and color towel and
I've never
oh
heard
yeah.
Yeah, it's a towel place.
Pomona lost a lot of businesses that were
Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Pioneers,
Pioneers,
I remember
Arby's,
Popeyes.
I mean, yeah, I could just, it's a whole lot of
It was traffic at that Popeyes. What happened?
Rite Aid even left over here.
Right, they was losing money. I could see nobody's ever in their parking lot. I could see that. I went there a few times, but they wasn't getting the traffic like that. I don't know why. The Rite Aid by my house popped. Pop, you can't even find a parking shit. You be like, I'll come back next time. That shit popping. The whole shopping center popping.
Yeah, you know, so is that bad management or the corporate offices didn't manage it
No,
correctly because they
again,
didn't care?
it just has the population that you're in. You know, what are they in the market for? You know, what's their need? You know, what are they shopping for? You know, most people coming
Tell us.
from Pomona into, you know, the Montclair area. This is almost, you know, the end of Pomona. There just wasn't a lot of traffic there. You know, for the Rite Aid. You know, specifically why, I don't know.
Well, I've been in Pomona, and I'm not even sad or mad or upset to go on the record and say, over the last 25 years, it's been terrible mismanagement here. The reason why some of the stuff is gone.
But who's owning it though?
It's been mismanaged. It's been
But you say
they have a few
mismanaged.
people trying to
Who was
hard
owning it?
work.
Was it us owning it? Who was owning
I'm
it?
not even gonna put a color to it. It's just been mismanaged. It's just
Right. So they probably sold and kept going, just like you said.
Well, that's more, you know, we're more residential when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know, we're not big in commercial property, you know. That's horrible, even on the city level.
Yeah.
You know, we need to be a little bit more, you know.
But then
So do
too,
you
you
think-
guys, I think you guys are a different market. You guys.
do you think, as far as gentrification, they need to bring in more churches or less churches?
I just have an opinion
And what about welcoming
about the church.
the
Not
mosque?
that it's a bad opinion or anything, but
Yeah.
I don't really go to church too much. I'm a believer. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a Sunday go to church person. I've been there a few times. Been there a lot. Kind of low key grew up in the church with my grandma, you know. But I'm not really much of a church person. So,
So you say
I'm
they
not
can
one
leave-
to speak on.
They can leave that one off. They can leave that one off the list.
I mean, it's not that I'm not gonna yay for it. I'm not gonna nay for it.
Well, I'm gonna yay for it for the community because a lot of churches are
People love churches,
A lot of
and,
things
and,
for
and
the
I think
community.
there's sanctuaries and
You know, and I went all the way to
people
LA
love
and tried to
things.
get a Johnson & Johnson shot, but the church people didn't give it to them.
But anyway, it's been good talking to you folks. I'm gonna
All
have
right,
to-
thanks for joining us for our
Get to the-
conversation on
get to the
gentrification. And
Yeah.
you guys like us, share us, check us out, and I will be coming back to you next week, episode 7 or 8, right?
Thank you.
Thanks for joining me and them. Peace out.